I'm doing these reviews of these alternate real estate platforms that you can invest in, tokenized real estate, blockchain real estate, that sort of thing. Today we got to Here, which is here.co. This is a platform that's been around for, I think, a couple of years. They've done quite a number of properties and tokenized them, or at least fractionalized them for investors. They do Airbnb properties. So these are vacation rental properties, and they're in numerous states, so not just in one location, but they are all Airbnb or vacation rental properties. This site really bothers me. As a real estate broker, I've been a real estate broker my whole life, so that's over 25 years I've been a real estate agent and real estate broker. And when I see something going on like this, though it may be legal, everything is registered with the SEC, and when you go over the SEC filing, you're going to see their expenses. I don't think any of these investors on this platform are actually doing very good due diligence and looking at the SEC filing and the expenses and what they're getting into. So quickly, I'm going to show you one of the properties, and then that you'll get an idea of what the platform looks like. I'll show you what I see as the expenses, what the costs would be, and then I'm going to show you the SEC filing on the fees, and I'm going to show you what a disaster this is from a broker or an investment advisor position. I have to give you my honest opinion as a licensed broker on this fee structure and what I see as an investment. I'm going to break that down for you, and I'm going to show you how long it would take for you to get out of this property and simply break even. So first off, here's the website right here. I said it's at here.co. Now when you click into the properties, you're going to get to here. And we're going to look at this property right here in Panama City Beach, Florida, called Whitefin. So let's click on that. Now it brings you to the platform's presentation of this property. At the top here, you have a short description of the property. You've got the amenities down below. You sort of have an overview or a pitch right here on the property. And then down here, a little bit about the area and just some basic sales speak right here. Financing, there's be no financing on this property, so there's no leverage. Here's the location of the property off of Powell Lake down here. It's on the interior side, not the ocean side. And then it gives you some information down here. Now, I'm going to dig into the Airbnb issues or numbers, but look right here, average daily rate. This is not real. This average daily rate is across all these different properties, and it's going to be including waterfront property. So that's not what I see. Average occupancy at 53% is pretty accurate. I see that pretty much across the board on Airbnbs when you average out the whole year. So I'm going to use this average occupancy rate, and I'm going to show you the Airbnb numbers that I see. One of their plans for this property is they're taking a bunch of money up front from the investors. That's part of the plan of this price, and they're going to be installing a pool. If you buy into this property, you're buying in at this price of $1,410,000. Each share is $1. So this is your purchase price. This is not the price that these guys are acquiring this property for, but this is the value that you're investing in. And this is what you would be comparing your return on investment against when you see what the Airbnb rental numbers in and the expected income. Now here's the property on Zillow. It says pending, so I don't think they've closed on it yet. This is still an offering. It's listed for $849,000. The Zestimate is $814,000. Now going down here, we'll see these numbers again in a minute. Property taxes are $396, insurance is $297, and HOA fees are $61. Now, this doesn't include utilities or with the maintenances that they're going to be on the pool that they're installing. Now, remember right here where they said the average daily rate was $1,154? Well, if you go right here, the property is located right here on Airbnb. It's not listed on Airbnb yet, but it's located right here where my mouse is. Now you can see here's a comparable property, very, very similar. It's actually closer to the water, but this is a very similar property, and they're offering this at $373 a night. Here's a little bit nicer property at $471 a night. This property is also a little closer to the water than the subject property, but I'm going to use this property as more of a comparison. Let's just pull this up real quick. So you can see the property here. Not a big deal. This isn't like an extraordinary Airbnb. This basically looks like, I don't know, just something. This is fine. I mean, this is basically Pottery Barn fine. Now the Whitefin property, let's take a look at their photos. Now these are enhanced photos, of course, but okay. So right here, you're seeing this is not that big of a deal. They've got some, I guess, some Pier 1 wicker furniture they plan on putting in. This is staged right here. This is virtual staging. But if this is what they're planning on, that $200,000 that they're advancing from the investors to fix up this property, or they call it fix up and pool, they're going to install a pool, and then they're going to throw some furniture in here, coffee pot, silverware plates, that sort of thing to get this thing Airbnb ready. Now on each property in the financial section, there's a button you can click on for the offering circular, and that's the only place you can really get documents about what's going on with this property. They're not going to show you the purchase and sale agreement, they're not going to show you inspection reports, and they're not showing you any other documents I can find anywhere on this site for your due diligence on buying into this property. So the only thing you have to go by is their SEC filing. Now when you go into the SEC filing, Control F is your friend. Use Control F and search for white, whatever they're calling their property. In this case, it's Whitefin. And then eventually you're going to get to this right here. So this is the one on the Whitefin property. If you notice right here where my mouse is, they're actually acquiring this property for $800,000. That's the price. This right here is the market price of this property today is $800,000. Now, if you look up here, they add on to that a bunch of fees. Now look at this $14,000 brokerage commission. That is not included in that $800,000. At that price of $800,000, there was a brokerage commission paid to the buyer's agent. They probably got a referral fee to this company on that. We're not even going to cover that. But those commissions were already paid to the buyer's agent out of the $800,000. Added on to the $800,000, there's a $14,101 additional brokerage commission. And then look at this right here, $816,000 is the price for, that's kind of like the net purchase price. I think what they're adding, now this is my speculation as a broker, I think what this is, there's a $16,000 assignment fee because these guys put it under contract and then they assign it to the series. When an assignment happens, it's notorious and it's very common that there's an assignment fee paid to the people executing the deal. So I see a $16,000 assignment fee here. I also see a $14,000 additional brokerage commission for whatever reason is added onto the price. Now right here, anticipated furnishing and repair costs for $250,000. Fine. I know that's excessive because they kind of have to be on these filings. They can't go, the repairs or whatever they're going to spend on the property can't go above this amount. So they're excessive on this, but it also says in here that any excessive amounts get pushed towards the operating reserves of the property, so that's okay. But that's what they're charging, or that's what the pool installation and that stuff I was talking about would cost. Now, offering expenses of $40,000. I totally understand that registering these properties with the SEC is a process. A lot of attorneys involved, a crap ton of paperwork that none of us would understand. I get that. It is what it is, right? So I understand that. Then you have the operating reserve of $80,000. That's smart. You want a lot of money in the bank in case you need a roof or a sudden repair. This is a $800,000 property, so okay, an $80,000 reserve on that. That reserve should be owned by the investors on the property. So it's if I'm an investor or you're an investor, then we would own that money. Fair enough. Then we get to this part right down here, a service fee of $210,000. Every one of their properties I've seen so far, and I've looked through these circulars, has this kind of a fee attached. And I can tell you right now, as a real estate broker, if I tried to pull this crap, I would lose my license. I'd probably get thrown in jail. I would be out of the industry. There's not a chance in the world. If 5 of you guys out there came to me and said, Brian, we want to buy an Airbnb in Coeur d'Alene, and there's an $800,000 Airbnb. We want to buy that property. And if I helped you buy this property, and at the end of the day I charged, in addition to my buyer's agent fee, an additional $14,000 brokerage commission, an additional $16,000 assignment fee, an additional $210,000 service fee, I would be laughed out of the business. I would be laughed out of my brokerage, and I would lose my license. It would be a shit show, I can tell you right now. Now, what is this service fee? Look right here. Represents a fee payable to here in connection with the search and negotiation of the property purchase and coordination of the work needed. $210,000 to pull up a new construction property on the MLS in a potential resort destination takes about 5 minutes. Doesn't take $210,000. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I understand someone needs to supervise this pool installation and buy the furniture. Really should be the property management company. Fine. But $210,000 to supervise that is absolutely ridiculous. These guys are pocketing all the cash. That's silly. Now, also, they charge in these filings, it says between 20 and 40% property management fee. That's excessive. A good property manager on an Airbnb should cost you 15%. They say in their documents that basically they have the right to assign that property management duty, which they will because they're doing this in multiple states. So they're going to find a local property manager. They're going to pay him probably 15% or less, and then they're going to be pocketing the difference on that management fee. They're also charging a 1% of the price of the value of the property per year on an asset under management fee. So I told you we'd go over the numbers on this property right here to see if this would be a good investment, penciling it like you do any traditional real estate investment. You sit down with your broker, you come up with the numbers. What are you going to rent it for? Minus our expenses. What do we make? Now remember I said I would be super generous. This analysis is super generous towards these guys. I'm trying so hard just to not to slam this as hard as I can. So let's be generous. I'm assuming $493 a night. Remember what I showed you on the Airbnbs, that was actually higher than what you would get? But let's assume $493 a night. Now it also said a 53% occupancy rate. You guys, that's 15 days a month. I got even further generosity towards these guys on here. 20 nights. Let's assume they could rent this for 20 nights a month per year. $493 per night times 20 nights equals $986. Now let's take out the fees. Property taxes of $396, insurance of $297, HOA of $61. Now I lumped in utilities, pool, and supplies. Water, sewer, garbage, power for the air conditioning and the pool. Remember that. Supplies are going to be things like coffee pods, all those replenishing broken plates, and the Airbnb supplies. I had put that all the way down at $800 a month. Let me tell you, there's not a chance you're going to be getting away with this at $800 a month for all of those utilities, pool supplies, pool maintenance, and the Airbnb supplies. Probably a lot more. Super generous, $800 a month. Now, see right here, they also take that 20% property management fee. That's $1,972 per month, which leaves a net to the owners of $6,334 per month on a $1.4 million investment. So what's the cap rate, cash on cash return of this property? Well, a cap rate is the net operating income divided by the purchase price. The net operating income on this property is $6,334 times 12 months is $76,008 per year. Divide that by that purchase price of $1.4 million, you can see that is a 5.3% cap rate. That is ridiculous cap rate on a vacation property. Vacation rentals, you should be getting an 8 to 12% cap rate on those, not a 5.3% cap rate, which is a 5.39% cash on cash return. You guys, I could drop you into a basic rental house with no management hassles, no Airbnb, anything like that, just a standard 1-year lease, and I could get you a much better cap rate than that, absolutely starting tomorrow, and you'd be able to exit the property. These people are not getting out of this property for at least 8 years. Now, one of the things about these platforms is that number one, you get paid rent when you're an owner. Fair enough. You get some rent, and then you get appreciation on the property so that when they sell the property, then you get paid off for your tokens or whatever your investment is. So look at this right here. The value of this property today is $800,000. That's what they're putting it under contract for. That's the market price. Now, let's assume that $250,000 that they're going to put into basically furniture in the pool, really it's the pool. What does that bring that property up to? Let's say that brings that property up to $900,000. Let's give them $100,000 just for throwing in that basic pool. Trust me, it will be a basic pool in the back. This is not going to be some incredible Disney jungle back there. This will be a basic pool. It even shows it in the pictures. Cut a hole in the ground, put a liner in there, dump in some water, and throw some furniture around it. Bingo, you got yourself a pool. So let's say this property, even today, which it wouldn't be, even today was worth $900,000. Okay, fair enough. When can you sell this property to even break even? This is it right here. Assuming 13% closing costs, you guys. That is 8% closing costs, commissions, title insurance, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm putting in there a 5% of the closing costs simply for repairs. Remember, you guys, this is going to be a heavily used, heavily trafficked Airbnb in a beach resort area. So you're going to have a lot of wear and tear on that property. So to sell this property in the future, 5% of fix-up repairs, again, I'm being insanely generous towards these guys right here. So this is the math, you guys. Your purchase price today is $1,400,000. So how do you get your money back? Well, divide it by 0.87, because I remember I said the 13% closing cost ratio. You're going to need to sell this property for $1.6 million. Assuming a 5% increase per year, from $900,000, it's going to take you 8.51 years simply to get your money back at break even. If you put $5,000 into this investment today, in 8.5 years, you'll be lucky to get your $5,000 back. You will be lucky just to break even. Here is the insane formula to figure that. But you guys, I can't recommend this platform as a broker because these fees are so insanely excessive that it just doesn't make any sense. Who's making all the money in this deal is the company. It's just a few people. These guys are absolutely cleaning up on fees. I bet you they're making millions of dollars on fees on this, and people are not going to be exiting these properties anytime soon. In the fine print, it's all up to these guys when the properties are sold. You don't have voting rights to decide when things are sold. They decide when it's sold. They decide when they pay rent to you as the investors as a distribution. I think this platform right here is an absolute dumpster fire. If you want to watch a video on a platform that's doing a much more legit job, they're paying their rents out daily, they actually have a marketplace to trade the tokens, then click on this link right here.